My name is Arnaud Misset. I work at CACEIS as a Chief Digital Officer. I've been in this industry for more than 10 years now, and prior to this, I was a consultant specialized in the banking sector. Now I especially take care of everything linked and related to digital, just like a digital asset, but as well as everything related to the web client portal, mobile application, and so on and so forth. When we talk about blockchain, we have to keep in mind that it's a quantum leap in terms of technology. Why do we talk about blockchains? Because it's a chain of blocks. And it means that every transaction is logged into a block and is being validated. And once another transaction is coming, there will be another block that will be plugged on the previous one using some component of the previous block. So it means that every block is linked to the other. And the validation mechanism that you probably heard about, like proof of work or proof of stake, make it really almost impossible to break and to rewrite the story. So as every block is plugged on the previous one, the longer the chain is, the stronger it is. And that's why we said that the blockchain is tamper-proof and you cannot attack it or rewrite the whole story. The information is accessible to everyone, cannot be changed, so it's really secured. And if we think about the securities industry, you can clearly see that it really fits with what we are doing in terms of custody, to be able to manage every wallet or every bank account in the blockchain. This is why more or less what a custodian is doing is managing a ledger, and distributed ledger technology make it only safer and stronger than what we have today as IT systems. A custodian bank first is a trusted third party, meaning that the custodian will safekeep the assets, these assets being digital or physical ones. It's really important in the whole value chain because we take care of the assets and we guarantee that the assets are there and in the right numbers, in the right place, and so on and so forth. This is the role of a custodian today. What's driving us is clearly the client demands, and what we see up to now on the market is that clients are more and more demanding for tokenization as well as every kind of digital asset. And when we talk about digital asset, it runs from, of course, cryptocurrencies that everyone knows, but securities token, utilities token, non-fungible token, the NFTs that everybody is talking about at the moment, and as well as the central bank digital currencies. So we aim at covering this whole thing, and client demands is for this whole big bunch of digital assets. So we definitely have to rely on technology, and the technology behind the digital asset is blockchain, a digital ledger, a distributed digital ledger, and of course, as we are a well-known custodian, we have to position ourselves. We do rely now on really good technology. It works really well, but this new decentralized distributed ledger changes everything. It means that you can manage and exchange the assets everywhere in the world, real time. It's really eased the process, it cuts costs, and so on and so forth. So it's really a big change for the industry, and we have to be ready for it. The change is driven by the client demands. That's, of course, what we're looking at. But we also see that it is driven as well by the regulation. Even if the regulation is really still fragmented at European level, we see that every regulator is really focusing efforts on digital and decentralized ledger technology. So this is something we have to take as a whole, from a regulatory standpoint, from a client demand standpoint, and also, as I mentioned previously, we want to position ourselves as being a state-of-the-art in terms of technology and services towards our clients. Talking about digital assets, the big topic is around the management of keys. There are public keys that are more or less the same thing as your bank account, and the private keys. The private keys, compared to traditional world, is, let's say, a password. If you lose your password, if someone steals your password, you cannot access anymore to your assets. That's the reason why it is absolutely mandatory to rely on a trusted third party as a custodian to manage and to take care of those private keys. Because once again, if you lose those private keys, you lose everything. So that's probably the most important topic. This is true for all the digital assets we've been talking about. This is true for the securities token, for the cryptocurrencies, for the utilities token. Of course, we can argue and discuss about the private blockchain versus public blockchain, but in the end, there will always be a topic about private key management, and this is where the custodian has a role to play. It's a big change by nature. Today, once again, when you talk about digital assets, you talk about tokens, you talk about keys, public and private keys, as we just mentioned, and the thing is that the assets are not in your hands anymore. They are on the blockchain. So from a custodian perspective, what you manage is once again private keys. So it means that you manage the access to the asset, not the asset anymore. And that's a really important difference. Another difference is a blockchain is a distributed ledger. So everyone can access this distributed ledger from everywhere in the world, once again, real time. So it really opens the way for asset manager to be able to distribute their funds everywhere to everyone on Earth, in fact. So it really changed a lot in the way you access the asset, the way you distribute your assets, the way you can manage everything real time. That's for me the main differentiators. Again, CACEIS is one of the most important custodian in Europe. So we definitely have to position ourselves in terms of digital assets. And we are a custodian. So the first building block of our offer will be about custody. And to do so, we will rely on a best-in-class technology provider called Taurus. It's a Swiss-based company. We will use their technology. And we will use their technology for both custody and then issuance, but as well to access the different blockchain. Because when we talk about blockchain, it's not only one blockchain in the world. There are many protocols. You know, the Bitcoin protocol, the Ethereum, Tezos, many private blockchain, and we have to stay agnostic to those technologies. We have to offer the widest range of protocols to our clients, and we will do so via Taurus. And to do custody, we will rely on their Taurus Protect module, and for the issuance on Taurus Capital module. And of course, it will be operated by our teams. We will only use Taurus as a technology provider. And of course, all the security behind the traditional custodian will also be applied to those digital assets. The reason why we chose Taurus is pretty simple. Taurus has been founded by former bankers, so they really well know what we talk about when we talk about securities. And it's really important because there's not only cryptocurrencies, and that's probably not the most important part of digital asset from our perspective. We really want to focus on securities token. And when you start talking about securities token, you start talking about corporate action, for instance. And to manage corporate action on blockchain, you will have to be able to manage what we call smart contracts. And it's really important to understand the whole mechanism behind securities to perfectly being able to manage those smart contracts. And that was one of the main strengths of Taurus, to really understand the banking business, to come from this business. So to, right from the beginning, have in mind what we need at a banker in the world of digital assets. One of our motto is solid and innovative. So innovation at CACEIS is really important. On the one hand, as we discussed already, there is digital asset for sure. But on the other hand, we have also to pay attention to what we call open finance. I would say that as every other player in this market, we are not able anymore to develop from an IT standpoint everything on our own. So we are, I would say that we are lucky because we are producing many datas that are the basis for almost every banking services that our clients want to benefit from. And to offer our clients the access to those new services, we are building what we call the Connect Store. Connect Store is an open platform embedded into our client web portal that opens the way for our clients to access every kind of fintech startup services. Of course, we will have made a pre-selection of those fintechs and startups. Let's say that in almost every case, those startups do rely on the asset provided by CACEIS. So it will be, let's say, pre-feeded by us to the fintech and startup, and it will be as easy as just one click for our clients to subscribe to the services provided by the startup and to have the feedback directly into the CACEIS web portal.